Hi, I wanted to do a quick video to show you a couple things relating to how to get a Konica Minolta MFP to work with the EquiTrack panel connector app. All right. So the first thing I'll show you is in EquiTrack, what would happen if you try to publish a device app to a machine that's not ready for it. And then I'm going to get into how we do this. But just so you understand why it's necessary, watch what happens if we try to initialize the panel app to a machine that's not ready. If you try to initialize, it's going to fail. And if you look at more information, it's going to tell you because OpenAPI is not configured to use SSL. So you need to change the device's settings to enable that. So let's go ahead and do that. Now that you see that it is required, okay, how do we actually go ahead and do that? So let's look at how we do that. So log in to the IP address of the device you want to bring into EquiTrack management, and it's just going to be the normal. Okay, coming in as admin now, and first thing we need to do is go to the security tab. That's where we create the SSL certificate. That'll load in a second here. All right, so you see here's the device certificate list, and you see there's nothing there. A couple headings, but there's no certificate. So what we need to do is make a new registration, and we're going to create and install a self-signed certificate. All right. Now, these values can really be anything. It doesn't matter. Really doesn't. We just need some values in there to fill in the blanks. So I'm just going to tell a couple abbreviations for locations, and I always put 10-year period, which expressed in days is 3,650. And the encryption key type we'll just leave as a default. So that goes ahead and actually creates the certificate. Please wait. And then we get a confirmation method that says SSL can now be used. So the certificate has been created. So we're done with that stuff. Now we need to make a couple setting changes in order for EquiTrack to be able to use it. So after the certificate is created, you notice that web address changes to HTTPS for secure, right? And your browser will tell you that it doesn't recognize the site for secure connection. So in order to continue, you just need to click on I understand and to add the exception and wait for the browser page to refresh. And just click on confirm security exception, and it should bring us back to the web page of the MFP. I'm going to log in again and go back to security settings. Make sure everything is ready. And what I'm going to do now is just go down the list here, and the first one under certificate settings is SSL. We need to make sure that that's on admin and user mode, and we leave this on the top one. So that's good. We're going to go now to protocol settings. There are a couple changes that are going to be required here. So what we need to do here is create SSL certificates to so that they can use TCP sockets and OpenAPI. So all we do is click on create and say OK. We should get confirmation pretty quickly that it's done. And that's been completed, so we can go back and do the same process for OpenAPI, which is right here. So we click create, and okay, and that's been successfully completed as well. So in order to complete the task here, now that the protocols have been set, we need to go to the networks setup and enable a couple features within OpenAPI and TCP socket as well there. So within the network settings, scroll down to OpenAPI. And we need to switch where it says use SSL and TLS. That needs to be SSL only. Okay, and click override on this. Okay. And that's been completed. And we'll now need to do one more checkbox for TCP socket settings here. Okay, so what is going to happen here is we need to enable that middle box for use SSL and TLS. And if you don't do the first few steps I showed you, that box will be grayed out and inaccessible. So by creating the certificate first, that's what lets you turn this on. So for EquiTrack to use this, this has to be enabled. So we're going to click OK, and that's pretty much going to be the end of it. And you're going to get a notification as soon as you enable that last check mark that the machine has to be rebooted in order for those settings to take effect. So I'm going to say OK here and log out of admin mode. So the machine now is ready to be rebooted. And this can be done physically if you open up the front panel and turn off the rocker switch and power it back on after a couple seconds. Or I'll show you how it can be done in Netgear Device Manager as well. So as soon as we log out here, you'll see that. Okay, notice that I'm logged out now. I'm going to switch over to Netgear Device Manager and show you how to reboot using this utility. See, same IP address of this device rather. So I'm going to go to Reboot Device and click Execute. And it's going to ask me, do you really want to reboot the device? And I do. So the machine has now been rebooted. And I'm going to try again to publish the panel app from EquiTrack to the device. So you can see I've got the same C364, and if I go to initialize, same settings, I want to try to turn it on and initialize here. It should work, and I should get a successful confirmation this time around. Device initialization has completed successfully. So we know that it works. Hope this has been helpful for you. Please see me with questions or watch this video again, but that's going to be the gist of it. One note about the rebooting of the device is for the video purposes here, I had to do it using software, Netgear Device Manager, and it's not likely that in a real-world environment all the devices would be integrated into PageScope Enterprise Suite Device Manager, so you will likely need to do the rebooting manually. That said, there's one other setting on the MFP that will need to be turned on, and it's called Print Without Authentication. So you notice I'm on the C364 here, and this can be done through the web interface on the XX4 series, the current generation machines. However, with previous generation machines, this will need to be done at the panel. So it's called Print Without Authentication. All right, so right here. By default, it may be on restrict, so you do need to make sure that it's on full color black. And we're going to say OK, and then you can log out. But if that setting is not set, print jobs sent to a machine that's being governed by EquiTrack will fail at the device. So if it's a machine that's prior to the XX4 generation, log in at the panel to administrator settings, go to user authentication settings, find print without authentication, and set it to allow. so it can be done at the panel on every device, but only through the web. On the current generation machines can be done through the web. On all machines, it can be done on the panel, but you won't be able to do it on the web through anything newer, older than the current generation. So that's it. Thanks for watching.